In a strange way, I admire Ford's willingness to accept defeat, to take a loss, to take a big loss. If I were to ask you, how much money does Ford make on every EV that it produces? If you were to play the game Price is Right, you'd say, let's go $1. That way, I won't overbid. If you did, you'd still overbid by $66,000. That's right, Ford is losing a staggering amount of money on every EV it sells. So how do they plan on making a profit if they keep on going down this road? Let's break this down by the numbers. Ford's EV sales grew a sizable 41% during the first quarter to almost 11,000 EVs, and its Model E segment lost $722 million in adjusted earnings before interest and taxes during the same time frame. It essentially shows that each vehicle that Ford's EV segment produces, it loses more than $66,000. It's also fair to note that Ford's EV profitability is expected to get worse before it begins turning a profit in 2026. In fact, Ford Model E losses jumped from roughly $900 million in 2021 to $2.1 billion in 2022. Those losses are expected to reach $3 billion in 2023, this year, as the company heavily invests in new models and factories to build scale and eventually turn billions in losses into billions in profits. How are they expecting to do that in such a short period of time? So the key factors in Ford's Model E turning a profit are ramping up scale, improving design, engineering efficiencies, lowering the battery costs, crossing his fingers there are no EV price wars, and that raw material costs do improve. More specifically, the biggest factor is Ford accelerating scale. Per Ford's Teach-In presentation, the Model E segment is operating at roughly 40% margin, half of which can be erased by its expected ramp up in production and scale. Now, already Ford has targeted its F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E to reach annual run rates of 150,000 units and 210,000 units by the end of this year. Ford is targeting a global run of 600,000 EVs by the end of this year, with that figure reaching more than 2 million by the end of 2026. Another 15% of margin profits can be gained through maximizing commonalities and reuse of technology and engineering and improving design efficiency. Another 10 points of margin can be found by simply vertically integrating, securing battery materials through 2026 and beyond, and accelerating scale of their battery production. Those three factors alone, per projections, get the Model E segment to profitability, as you can see by this graph right here. The remaining margin points to reach its 8% target by the end of 2026 might be a little more uncertain. Ford expects dealer standards, software and service, and better raw material costs to add a few extra margin points, while anticipating competitive pricing to offset some of those gains. So is their profitability for 2026 reasonable? Is it realistic? The answer, in short, is yes. Ford can generate profits from its EV program by the end of 2026. It has the nameplates driving current sales and demand, new EVs on the way, and improving scale for not only its vehicles but also its batteries, and that's huge. In a short time, Wall Street has moved from asking automakers to have big EV strategies to demanding big EV profits. But it's reasonable for almost all automakers be a couple of years out of that goal. Losing over $66,000 per EV is a big number, and savvy investors, if you're thinking about that, should keep an eye on this critical Ford segment going forward, as it's an integral part of Ford's long-term investment thesis.
One final note, if you are in the market for a new vehicle soon, great. Connect with your local dealership and price and test drive at least 3 different vehicles. A vehicle's strengths and weaknesses can only be discovered when you are behind the wheel. My reviews can be good, but you need to test drive these yourself. Visit quotes.everymandriver.com, select the make, model, and your zip code, and you'll get invoice pricing in your area on those vehicles. Shop smarter with price quotes at quotes.everymandriver.com.
Thanks for watching. Please click subscribe and give us a thumbs up. See you next time.